Stampers, it's Madeline from StampinWithMadeline.com, the Wonderland Stamper. Thanks so much for joining me for Stampin' Sunday. So I have some big news to share that I want to share with everyone on this video. I am going to be adding some things to my business in the upcoming new year. So there'll be additions that I'll be doing that will be coming out in January. But the first thing that I want to share with all of you is that I will be continuing Stampin' Sunday. But I am also going to be blogging for 5 days a week. So what's going to happen is on Stampin' Sunday, we're going to go over a few different cards from one stamp set or the paper pumpkin or something along those lines. And then I'm going to blog for 5 days during the week. So what's going to happen if I focus on a stamp set like this one? This is Heartfelt Blooms. So this is one of the Sale-a-bration stamp sets. It is gorgeous. Okay, so let's go off on a little bit of a tangent. Sale-a-bration is coming. January 3rd is when it starts. So it's very, very soon. I did mail out my catalog, so I hope that you all receive them if you're a customer of mine. If you're not and you would like to be, I can mail out catalogs to you ASAP. So please leave a comment or comment me over on my blog. You can do the contact me form and let me know that you'd like some catalogs because I'd love to share them with you. So Sale-a-bration, if you're not familiar, is the best time of the year for Stampin' Up. January 3rd to the end of March, every $50 you spend, you get something for free. So the Sale-a-bration catalog is gorgeous this year and you are going to love it. And they also did a little bit of an addition. Every $100 you spend, you get an even better item from the Sale-a-bration catalog for free. So if you spend $100, you get one of the $50 items, and if you spend, and because you spend $100, then you get an $100 item. So you would actually get two different things, and every $50. So it doesn't matter how much your order is. For every $50, you get something from the Sale-a-bration catalog. So for the month of January, I am going to be focusing on one stamp set from the Sale-a-bration catalog for every single week, and I'm going to show you 7 or more examples by doing tutorials on 7 or more cards or projects using that stamp set. So that's my big news right now. There'll be more additions coming, but I am really trying to up the things that I put online and the projects that I share with you. So Stampin' Sunday is just one of those things. And then again, every day during the week, there will be a new blog post teaching you how to make another card from whatever we focus on, usually from Stampin' Sunday. So make sure you head over to my blog and follow it and subscribe to it so that then you'll get those posts. They'll have pictures and tutorials on how to make the cards. So I'm really excited about that, and I hope you are as excited as me. So again, Sale-a-bration, awesome time, best time of the year because you get free stuff. So the Sale-a-bration catalog, again, is gorgeous. You're going to love it. This is one of the stamp sets, and I had to start the month with this because this is beautiful. It's a photograph stamp. So it's a stamp where they have taken lots of different photographs and made it into a stamp. So seeing it like this, it just like doesn't do it any justice, because when you look at the stamp, I was like, oh, how is that going to look when I stamp it down? But once you stamp it, it is gorgeous. So let's get into the 2 examples I'm going to show you today. I am also going to show you a new tool that I got at Christmas. It is the Brother Scan and Cut 2. It is awesome. If you have never seen it in action, you will see it in action tonight, and you are going to love it. It is such a big time saver. Okay, so these are the 2 cards that we're going to work on today. I love this stamp set. I think it's gorgeous. I did lots of different samples with it. So all of these, I did different colors using this stamp set. And every color that I did, I really liked. But as you can see, these are all cut to exactly the edge of these flowers and leaves, okay? So this is not, I am not a fussy cut person. I do not like hand cutting everything. So this Scan and Cut 2 is my savior. I am so excited. What the Brother Scan and Cut 2 does is it cuts exactly to what the edges are. So I don't know if you can see that, but it is pretty exact. It even got the little petals on here. So the Brother Scan and Cut 2, what it does, and you'll see it later, it scans your paper that you have all of these stamped on. So I had all of these stamped on one piece of paper. It scans it all, you approve it, and then it cuts out your images to exactly where you want. It's amazing. I can't get over how awesome it is. You'll also see down here, this is one of our embossing folders that I'm just so excited about these cards and the machine. I keep going off on tangents. This is the Celebrations Duo embossing folders. I've never really used these, so I was kind of excited to bring them out and use them. So I use the Celebrate one. There are two separate ones in here. I used the Celebrate one, and look how nicely the Brother Scan and cut that. And you're going to see that in action. I'm going to show you the Brother Scan and Cut cutting that out. Isn't that gorgeous? That is not something I could ever fussy cut. And let me tell you, it gets this done in like 20 seconds. It's awesome. And it's awesome for the sets that don't have framelits or thinlits. That's the big thing. If it has, a set of framelits or thinlits, it's awesome because we're able to quickly cut them out and it's awesome. But when it's something like this that doesn't have a framelit or a thinlet for both of these, it makes it so that the card has like a whole nother level of creativity, I think. It makes it up a level. So I love it. All right, so let's get started on what you're going to need for these two cards. I didn't even talk about this one. This one, I added in a stamp set, the Pretty Label Punch, and also the Label Me Pretty stamp set for the outline here. This one, I used glitter paper, some of the wood pack paper, which I love. I did put some jewels on this, but I'm not exactly sure if I like that or not. So the second card, which I'm going to make with you, I'm not going to put those on. I'm just going to see the difference and see what I think. I also used one of my favorite trims here. Let's see what it is exactly called. The copper trim. I really got to play with this and I love it. This is something that I hope continues forward because it is gorgeous. You can really play with it. It like rips apart and then you can mesh it back together. You can use it with like the mermaid set. I've seen a lot of beautiful things with the mermaid set. But let's get started on our crafts. All right, so let's do this card first. So for this card, you're going to need a piece of the white glimmer paper at 5.5 by 4 1/4. You're going to need a piece from the wood Designer Series paper cardstock at 4 by 5 1/4. And then I just took a little scrap from that cut to be layered on top here. It's just the flip side of that light wood. And then you're going to need just like a big scrap of Whisper White so that we can stamp the flower and also do the punch out. And then we're going to use that trim, the beautiful trim that I just showed you. All right, so let's get stamping. These are all going to be red rubber stamps, so we won't need any piercing mat with it. So I'm going to take two things from this Heartfelt Bloom set. Again, this is a set you can get if you spend $50 starting January 3rd. Anything from the annual catalog or the occasions catalog, the brand new occasions catalog. If you spend $50, you can get this set. So I'm going to be using an E-block for the big flower here. And I'm going to be using Memento ink just because it's handy. Whatever black you have, the only thing with the glimmer paper is it gets everywhere. Okay, so we're going to take this black Memento and I'm just going to ink this up really quick. And you could flip this over if you want to, but I just think that I have more control with this small Memento pad, just having it upside down. So I'm getting it nice and inked, and you can already see that image coming alive once you put ink on it. All right, I'm just going to flip this over. And again, this is going to be cut out with the Brother Scan and Cut too. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, I just love it. It's beautiful. Okay, now we are going to take this over to the Brother Scan and Cut 2 and have it cut out. Okay, so I have the flower now attached to the sticky mat of the brother, and I'm just going to hit start. It's going to scan in and be recognized. So there's lots of different things that this Brother Scan and Cut 2 can do. You could look up, they have a lot of tutorial videos if you search. I can do one if people are interested in learning more about this. But for right now, we're just going to focus just quickly on it cutting out things that you stamp. But it could do everything like a Cricut machine. It can cut out boxes. They have Disney characters, lots of different options. But for me, I just love this part of that it fussy cuts out everything that I need that doesn't have a framelit or a thinlet. So you can tell on the screen it has exactly what I want cut out. I am going to just change a little bit. I want it to cut a little bit outside the lines. Okay, I'm going to hit OK, and then it's just going to cut it for me. Here we go. Okay, we're good to go back to our card. Okay, so we're back at our workstation. We have our flower here, all fussy cut out. Look how perfect that is. I could never get it cut like this. It would take hours for me to do it, and I would be fussy about it. So this is amazing to get it cut perfectly. You'll see a little spotting. That is just from the glitter being on the stamp. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just put that aside for a second and take the rest of the white paper that we're going to now do our pretty label on. So this is just the scrap from the cutout of the flower. I'm going to use Memento ink again, and I'm going to use the Label Me Pretty set. This is from the annual catalog. It's beautiful. I love it. I use this a lot. I keep going towards my pretty label punch. I love it. So this is the punch that you can get. So it's a bundle that you can get the punch and the cute stamp set and save 10%. I'm going to use a D block. This is the most popular size for me. I'm just going to ink this up really nice. Stamp it down. Oh, it got a little bit of residue. Let's do it on this side. And again, you can do this on any scrap that you have. That way you're not using up a whole sheet. And then it's just easy. You pop this in here. Line it up. And there we go. So now that we have that punched out, we can now do the sentiment. So here is our cute little sentiment, thinking of you. This is what's going to go in the center of our card. Going to use a C block just because it is a little smaller. It's easier to work with if you get a smaller block or a bigger block, depending on what size your stamp is. And again, these are all red rubber, so I'm not needing a pierce mat. There we go. Cute little sentiment. And now we're just putting together our card. So I am going to attach this darker piece of wood to my lighter piece. But before we do that, I'm going to do some edging with my dauber here. So this is a sponge dauber that I've labeled, and I'm going to add some darkness around the sides and over the whole paper just to give it a little bit more oomph, you know, and like a level up a little bit. Okay, so like I said, this is Sahara sand, and we're going to be daubing. So your finger goes inside this like a thimble. And then I'm just going to easily brush over this. So this can be quick, or you can spend a lot of time with it. I just want to go quick. You don't really want to put down any, like anything too heavy. We're just trying to darken it up a little bit. Just give it some life here. And like, again, this is very optional. So if you don't want to do this, it's totally fine. I just like how it came out in the end by having a little bit of darkness on it. And again, it's not perfect. I'm just quickly getting some color on it. Now, I'm going to edge around the sides. So this is the part that I would do just because it makes it blend in more with the card. So again, I'm just going around the edges, getting the edges dark. And I'm focusing more on the edges instead of like leaning into the paper. I'm just going along the edges, making sure it has that color on it. I'm okay if it gets on the front, but mostly I just want to get some color on the sides here. And it's really whatever you, as you go, you'll kind of get a feel for what you want it to look like. And you can add or do different things with it as much as you'd like. Okay, so now I'm going to take that scrap of wood, flip it over to the other side, and just get this down. I'm using my adhesive. I'm just going to center it on here a little bit up. There we go. I'm going to take that copper thread that I have and just cut a piece to go across the center, and it'll get tucked behind. And up to you. You can pull it apart a little bit if you'd like, or you can just put it on. So I'm just going to pull it apart a tiny bit. Then you can kind of get it back to where it just pulls it apart a little bit so that you can see more of the outline of like the framework on the inside. So I put adhesive along the whole ribbon. I'm putting it on the front here in the center of that strip that we just put on, and then I'm tucking the excess behind. You can cut off, like some of it didn't even get adhesive on it, so I'm going to cut that off. Just move it to the side. And then we can attach this down onto our glitter. I put a little bit of adhesive onto the ends there of the ribbon just to hold it down. I'm not going to do it in the video, but this would then go on the front of an A4 card base. So just a piece of Whisper White at 5.5 by 8.5 that you fold in half, and then you put this on the front. Okay, and now I'm going to use dimensionals. So I have some mini dimensionals here that I'm just going to put a bunch of them on here, just in random places. This will stick it down to your paper, but it'll also give you that 3D effect. So all these little papers just have to come up, which is a little time consuming here. And again, I'm not going to put the jewels on this one, but you could do that. It's totally up to you. There's that. And then the same thing for the Thinking of You. I'm actually going to cut a piece, though, of the Stampin' Dimensional on the side here. You want to use that up around the edges. Sometimes people throw that out, but that is same kind of thing. There we go. So there is our quick and cute Thinking of You card that really the Brother Scan and Cut 2 helped a lot. I think that that looks so much nicer than cutting a square, you know, and have some background on it, or trying to fussy cut that out. I think that would take up way too much time. And I think that I like it without the jewels much better. What do you think? I love that. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our second card with the Heartfelt Blooms. So let's get this out of our way. Okay, here is our second card using the Heartfelt Blooms stamp set. What you're going to need for this is you're going to need a piece of Sahara Sand, 5.5 by 4.25, a piece of Wild Wasabi, which I love. I haven't used this paper yet, really. Wild Wasabi at 4 by 5.25. And then again, you're going to need a piece, just a random piece of Whisper White, so we can stamp this Heartfelt Bloom onto it. And then you're going to need a piece of, again, a scrap piece of Sahara Sand for our Celebrate embossing folder here. So I have it, let's just see a measurement for you. I have it 5 by 2. That way it's just big enough for this, and the Brother Scan and Cut is going to cut it out for us. So you'll get to see that in action. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I want to stamp this flower in the very light pink. Okay, so we're going to stamp this right on here, and the Brother Scan and Cut's going to take care of the rest. So we won't need to worry about cutting that out or what size the paper is. Okay, so back from the Brother Scan and Cut, look how perfect that cut that. I just love it. It's so easy to use, and you get great results from it. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to bring the Big Shot in. So the Big Shot is our die cut machine. If you haven't heard of it before, it's an awesome machine that can add a lot of different elements to your card. So looking at the example, we're going to do two different things. We're going to use an embossing folder, the Layered Leaves. It's an amazing embossing folder that I love. I use a lot. And we're going to use that Celebrate embossing folder that I showed you before from the duo with the Hello and the Celebrate. So we're going to do both of these. So take that Wild Wasabi, and here is the Layered Leaves Big Shot embossing folder. So this, we're going to do it separately. So the Wild Wasabi is going to go into this. You'll want to make sure that you're just using one platform, the Big Shot platform, and one of the plates. This is such a large embossing folder that that's all it needs is one. Okay, so there is that. Look how it changes the paper. I love that. Then you're going to take that sheet, the little piece of Sahara sand, and we're going to actually, let me move this aside just for a second. This is a different kind of technique that I don't think I've showed you before. We're going to take our embossing folder, and the side that has Celebrate popped inwards, so it's coming out at us. If you feel it, it feels rough. You're going to take your Wild Wasabi ink pad, and you're going to very, very gently tap up and down on it. And you're just inking up that Celebrate word. Okay? You're going to lay your strip over the other side and close this up. Okay, so we're going to use two plates for this. Let me move the Big Shot back in here so you can see it. Sorry for the camera shaking. Okay, so we're going to push this through. Ooh. There we go. Take this out and see what you created. See, look at that. So now we're going to go over to the Brother Scan and Cut, and you'll get to see it in action doing this. Okay, so here's the Brother Scan and Cut 2. I have the embossed Celebrate onto my sticky mat here that's going to go into the Brother Scan and Cut. And this will be a little bit shaky, but I wanted to show you exactly how amazing this Brother Scan and Cut is and what it can do. So there's lots of different things that this can do, as I mentioned, but this is the favorite for me. So let's get started. So I have it attached. It's drawn into the printer so it can't fall out. It is going to be a little bit loud. I may cut out the sound just because it gets pretty loud. But this over here is the cutter. So that has the blade in it. And that's what's going to cut out this awesome image. So let's get started. So the new thing with Brother Scan and Cut 2 is it does recognize in color, which is huge. So let's get this in here. Okay, so it just scanned my entire image, and then it gets brought up on the screen here about what it saw. So I'm going to bring this in. You want to focus on exactly your image, like get it cropped. I'm going to hit OK. It's going to recognize. Sometimes this takes a little bit. Okay, so it recognized it, and we can tell it looks a little messy on your end probably. Here we go. We can tell exactly where it's going to cut, but I want it to be a little bit farther away. I don't want it to be exactly on there. So you do have an option to make your outline a little bit bigger. So we're going to do that. Okay, it has exactly where I want it cut. We hit the cut button and we hit start. Okay, and look at that. That is not something that we could fussy cut out as nicely and as quickly as the Brother Scan and Cut. So let's get back to our card. Okay, now it's time to put all of this together. So before attaching this down to your Sahara sand, you want to take out that copper trim again, and we're going to wrap it around this twice and leave enough so that we can make a bow. Okay, there we go. And you can always trim this down to what you want it. Okay, now you can adhesive this down to your card base. Put a little bit extra when you're using a piece of paper that you used an embossing folder on, because it just needs a little bit of extra adhesive to just stay down. Okay, now again we're going to use Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm going to use again this outer edge just because it's nice and big for this big flower. And just place it down on here in a place where you're not going to see it sticking out. Always use up that extra on the sides that you wouldn't normally use. Okay, and then we're just going to place this where we want it. There is that. And then I'm going to use some of the mini dimensionals and just put a bunch on this part. Oop. And again, when this card is finished, what you're going to do is take a card base that is 8.5 by 5.5 of whatever color you would like. I would recommend Whisper White. And you would just attach this to the front. So what's nice is that you could just have a bunch of Whisper White A4 size card bases ready to go, the 8.5 by 5.5 sheets, and then just have them off to the side. That way you can have them ready when you do all these card bases, just fold them up. There is our Celebrate, and there is our second card. I love this set. Okay, so here are all the cards that we made today. I hope you liked this video. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Make sure to hit the red subscribe button to stay tuned to my future Stampin' Sundays. And don't forget to head over to my blog to see all the supplies that we used for these cards. But also to subscribe to my blog, because you will get 5 more tutorials, one every day during the week, using this Heartfelt Blooms stamp set. So you can get this stamp set starting January 3rd when you spend $50. So it's a free stamp set when you spend $50. If you'd like a catalog, please reach out to me. I'd love to be your demonstrator. Thanks so much for watching. For now, keep stamping, Stampers. Bye.